Okay, here is a quick overview of the lesson planning that we will do for 431. The expectations for the lesson plan for 431 apply to lesson plan 3 through 9 or 10. So you've completed your assessments, your data is analyzed. Now, what do you do with that? Remember our intervention planning cycle, and we start up here where you have been given this student as someone who is struggling with reading. You have done your reading inventory, you've done your BAS assessments, and now it's time to begin planning intervention lesson plans using a balanced literacy approach, gradual release, focused on the 5+1 components of reading instruction. Quick review on the components of reading instruction: phonemic awareness. Brandy, that's mostly for you. Phonics, fluency, vocab, comprehension, and writing. With those 5+1 components, we design lesson plans that are balanced, where we are either reading to, we're reading with under the shared reading, or they are working independently. That balanced look applies to reading, writing, and phonics as well. Using the gradual release, especially if it's a new skill, you always start with modeled lesson planning, and then you slowly work to the point where students can perform the skill independently. The most important points for the lesson planning are they are data-based. They are based on the assessment data that you got when you assessed your students. The lesson plan is the #1 most important thing you will complete in this class. It needs to be purposeful, engaging, and responsive to the student's needs. And as always, gradual release will be incorporated into almost all of your lesson planning. Quick review on the gradual release model. You can read through that yourself. Also, these lesson plans are written as if you are writing subplans. They need to be detailed. They need to be explicit. Do not assume anything. They are written so that another tutor could teach your lesson at a moment's notice. You are familiar with the template. It is on Blackboard, and that is the template you will use for each week intervention lesson planning. So now I want to go through each section at a glance quickly. I am doing this knowing that you can go back and reread for clarification, just to keep this video somewhat short. First is the read aloud. The purpose of the read aloud is to provide an opportunity for the student to hear rich, authentic, beautifully written text that the student could not read independently. Therefore, the purpose is motivational. It builds vocabulary, it builds listening comprehension, it models fluent reading, it builds background knowledge, it provides an anchor text for a shared reading experience, and it also exposes students to more complex story grammars and text structures. Activities that you can incorporate, basically it's just a typical read aloud. However, for the interactive read aloud that we will be using in this class, there will be numbered detailed steps of all planned activities. There should be a before, during, and after. Pre-planned guiding comprehension questions or discussion questions should be included with page numbers of where you will stop to discuss each one. I would highly recommend using a response journal for writing and drawing. And again, this text should be at the frustration level, above the student's independent or instructional reading level. Guided reading. Guided reading. The purpose for guiding reading is that kids learn to read by reading. Reading with students provides that practice in an explicit, supported manner. It allows you to be a responsive teacher. All components of the reading, the 5+1 reading components, can be modeled and scaffolded within guided reading, and independent reading strategies can be taught, practiced through this part of the lesson plan. Activities to include during guided reading. The student reads with the teacher at a level that is their instructional level, about 90 to 95% words correct. Include a reread with each lesson. This helps with fluency. When they are reading, it can be silent, whisper reading, echo reading, whichever you think works best for your student. We will be talking about the directed reading thinking activity or the guided comprehension strategy in later lessons. Numbered steps written in detail are included for this section as well. Shared writing. The purpose of shared writing is very similar to guided reading. Young or inexperienced writers need to both observe knowledgeable writers at work and participate in the writing process in a supported, authentic manner. Shared writing lessons allow you to both model and actively engage students. They allow you to be a responsive teacher, and writing motivation is enhanced when the student has an authentic purpose and an authentic audience to write for. I would highly recommend integrating your writing lessons with other parts of the lesson plan. Shared writing activities, there are countless options for this particular component. You can read through those, and again, I just want to stress it's best to integrate writing with other activities that you are doing in the lesson plan. Word study or phonics. The purpose of word study is twofold. Students develop a general knowledge of English spelling through active exploration, and word study teaches students to examine words to discover generalizations. It also increases specific knowledge of words, and you will incorporate word sorts as well as many other activities within this intervention time. Word sorts, word ladders, making words, Greek and Latin roots for the 4th and 5th graders, syllable types. The opportunities, the activities are endless that you can incorporate here. As always, you will incorporate formative assessment with almost every component. I would highly recommend at least 1 to 2 formative assessments per lesson. And remember, formative assessment is used to guide your instruction. Have they mastered it? If not, what are you going to do in the next lesson to support their learning? There is a lesson plan rubric available if you would like to refer to that while you're planning. There is also an exemplar lesson plan on Blackboard that you can refer to. Suggestions for tutoring: have the tutoring agenda written on a small whiteboard so students know ahead of time what they will be doing, and let them check it off as you go. Allow some choice in the sequence of activities, especially for older kids. Consider discussing a tutoring project, a project-based learning activity, which we will be discussing later. It is highly motivating for kids. It gives them an authentic purpose, and it also gives them something to work on, like an artifact or an end project. Remember that data drives all instruction. If you do not know where to start, look to the data to make those instructional decisions. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me.